Hello. Okay, fine. So, hello everyone. Welcome back. Today, we're going to be creating a snow globe painting. And by that, I mean this is what we will be painting today. Oh, hello Neha. So, as you can see, I do not have my camera over here. I put it for charge, but the plug was a bit loose, so I couldn't really manage that part. But I hope this is okay though. So this is what we will be painting today. Okay, so as we can see that this is a square image, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a square out of this, somewhere right about here, this side, just so that it's a lot easier to get the composition right. I will cut this paper into a square. In case you're wondering what type of paper this is a watercolor paper which is 300 GSM. I was completing both workshops of today in the meantime. Oh, okay, that is nice. I can't wait to see them. I was just looking at the camera while saying that, just to realize my camera doesn't have any battery and I have to look at the table while I paint. I guess it's become a bit of a habit. Just posted in the group. Let me see. Oh, lovely. I love the colors that you've used. They turned out really good. Nice. I like the last one, especially that yellow and that orange at the back. Turned out amazing. Good job. Keep making more paintings. I'd love to see some more of your works as well. One second, I'll just zoom in a little bit here. Okay, I might need to adjust few things. Alright, hold on, maybe increase exposure. No, that's too much. Okay, I think this should be fine. Okay, there you go. Now we can start. Alright, I was just adjusting the camera so that it's not too warped, or it's not too over sharpened, or there's a lot of grain in the image. Alright, so looking at this reference here, I'm going to start off with a drawing. Alright, so when it comes to drawing circles, if you want, you can use a compass, or one of my favorite exercises to learn to draw proper circles is, what I do is I hold the pencil this way, not like this, but this way, and I will start off by drawing just one circle repeatedly, and then I'll try to maintain that circle and make concentric circles of the same size and the same height, like that. So then later when you want to draw a circle, it will be a lot easier like this. Or even if you try it this way, you can have a relatively good circle. Okay, so now coming back to the painting, the drawing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a circle from, say, here all the way till here. So these two. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by just very roughly drawing a circle like that, and I'm not going to lift my pencil up until I feel like I've drawn a good circle, like this. Now, one of the reasons why you just keep drawing the circle again and again is because this line may not be the right one, but one of these is going to be the right one. So what I mean by that is, now what I can do is I can take my eraser and I can start to remove any lines that I feel are not a proper circle. And so the same thing here, just like this, and this part I can just connect it back again, and then the same thing goes for this area here. And I'm doing it very lightly, I'm not using too much pressure. There you go, this is more than enough. It doesn't have to be a very precise or exact kind of circle. Alright? And then at the bottom, so right about here, I'm going to draw an ellipse. So just keep going back and forth until you get, or until you see the right shape. Just like that. Maybe I can extend this part a little bit, and then I can bring this part down over here, bring this down over here, just like that. So now what I've shown you is just maybe like 20% of how we draw, cylindrical or elliptical objects. So I was planning on keeping a workshop, to show these basic or the basics of sketching, but I had done one workshop and the result wasn't, that strong. So what I'm going to do is I'll just show bits and pieces while I do, the drawings, and then that way you can piece it all together. All right. And then inside over here, from the middle up until, so this is the middle of the circle, slightly higher. So I'll show you how I measure this exactly. Yeah. So if we look at this circle, this is the middle portion, right? And then when I draw a straight line here, you can see that it goes slightly above it. So it will go right about here. So using that same concept, if this is the middle of the circle, slightly above, right over there. And then over here, I'll just roughly draw the body of the snowman with the scarf as well. So the cap, I want it to be right about here. So now I'll just keep going back and forth until I fit it properly into the frame. Just like this. So then the head would come, see, right about here like that. And I see this part, it's a little too straight, and over here it's slightly curving. So I will extend this part out and then curve it down like this. But this won't really matter that much because when we paint, most of this is going to get hidden, or we're going to paint over it. Yeah, there you go, just like that. And we should be good to go. Yeah. This, and then we'll have the smile over here. Okay. So now I need to get the other blue that I am using. So instead of the Prussian blue, what I will be using is the phthalo turquoise. This is the color I will be using. Right, so I will take my palette. I have one palette for cool colors, one palette for warm colors. So now I will take this blue that I already have here, this turquoise kind of color. If you don't have turquoise, you can mix a little bit of red and blue and keep a lot more white. That way also you can get the turquoise color as well. Alright, so I have that color here. Let me just make this back to normal. Okay, so I'll try to show you as much as I can of the palette now that I don't have the screen over here. So I will take let's clean my brush properly first. Okay, so I'll take a little bit of this blue and then I'll take a bit of white, not too much. So I don't know how much of a difference can you tell, but okay, on camera it looks very similar. That's okay. And then I'll take a little bit of brown also to desaturate the color. Desaturate basically means to reduce the strength of the color. That's one of the easiest explanations I have, at least. So I'll start with this, a bit darker, and I will put this down. No, I'll take my brown first. Yeah, I'll take this and I'll just put it down here around the snowman. Just like this. Cover this part up entirely. Okay, like that. And then I will take a little bit of white, mix it in, and then go for the part around the globe. Just like this. I'll do the same for the rest. And like I said, it's okay to cover up parts of your drawing. That is one of the ways of how you are supposed to paint. Yeah, I'll take a bit more of this blue, a bit of this white, maybe a lot more blue, because we need it to be slightly darker. I'll take a hefty amount of this brown also and mix into it, maybe a bit more. So going for this slightly dusty kind of color, like this. I'll add a bit of water into it so that I can spread it nicely. Yeah, that should be good enough. A bit towards the top. Okay, just like this. And then I'll take a really good amount of brown and just mix it in. Yeah, the snowman is looking like a bat. I was confused for a second until I saw the painting. The snowman does look like a bat. It's like a snowman dressing up for Halloween. Oh, a snowman dressing up for Halloween. Okay, I'll take a bit more brown. Now I want it to be muddy, so I'm just going through like a trial and error kind of phase. There you go, just like this. So I'll start off with the corners where it is a little bit more muddy like, and then I will take a bit of white color. Yeah, I know, quite the thought. And now over here, just the tip of my brush, I'm going to sort of blend this part in a little bit at the top, a little bit, and then towards this side I will put one flat amount down, just like this, and then in a very subtle way paint around the side, and the same thing here. Okay, and I will add a lot more white to this. Now this seems to be a little too much, but that's okay. Since it's a little too much, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix it back in this and a little bit here, just like that. Make sure that there's very little paint at the tip of your brush, and then just start adding a little bit over here. Yeah, just like this. And then over here, if we need to brighten it up a little bit, we can always come back and brighten these areas up. And the same color here, I will add it to the inside of the globe. So whenever it comes to painting glass, right, it can get a little bit tricky, but I will try and show you the easiest, or maybe not easiest, but the most simplistic way possible. I think that term would be right. Because even after painting for so many years, even for me, this can get a bit tricky, but we can, work around it. All right. So now over here, I'll come back to this, but now look at this. If I put this down here, it doesn't look that nice. It looks a little muddy type. So I will take a bit of this brown and mix it in. This will increase its saturation, meaning increase the vibrance of this color. And now see if I put it right beside it, there you can see that difference. So that's what we're going to do. I'll add a little bit over here also, just like this. a bit this side, not much, just a little bit to have that kind of glow onto it. I should have covered this part entirely first, but it's okay, we can work around it. Right, then I will take some white color. I will mix it inside here because I already have enough of color in my brush. I'll add a little bit of yellow to increase the brightness of this. Okay, so for now I'll just keep it like that. Yeah. Just like that. So we can have this nice glow at the bottom. So for the background, we don't really need to do too much. Just about enough. And when do you know you have done just about enough? You will need to stop painting. Maybe look around for a couple of seconds, look away from your painting, and then come back and have a look at it. Because what can happen is, when you look at your painting for a long time, while you paint, then you get this sort of tunnel vision where you just see each and every nitty-gritty part and you go like, oh, I need to change this, I need to do that. And maybe you've already made such a great painting, and when you keep painting over it again and again and again and again, you end up maybe ruining your work in some sort of manner. So one of the best ways is to stop painting and have a look at it after some time. Okay, now I've done this area here, so I'll just take a little bit of white, a little bit of this brown. So I'm trying to make a relatively lighter color here. Okay, that's a bit too much. So I'll take a little bit of brown. And mix it in right there. And if there is too much water in your brush, just use the tip of your bristles like this. And see, I'm keeping my brush straight like that. And then I'm just using the tip of my brush so that whatever paint is there at the tip, I will only use that. I won't use any of the paint that is, inside the rest of the brush. Okay, then I'll mix some back here. Just like that. And then for this area also, just the tip of my brush. So I'll start with a medium-ish color, and then I will add the light color over it. Then what that will do is it will create more depth in your painting. Yeah, there you go. A little this side, a little bit here. And then I'll remove any extra paint in my brush. I'll just wipe it on my palette here, and then I can start to move all of this paint, all of this extra paint that may be there. So normally these paintings, they tend to take a couple of hours to paint. It's not something that you paint in, just like 1 hour or half an hour the way I do it. But the only reason I'm able to, complete this within this set amount of time is because I simplify it even more as compared to what is there in the reference image. And that way it even becomes easier for you, so that you don't get too into the the small details, because some details it is not possible to copy, like the brush strokes and stuff that is there in this image. That is not possible to copy. You can get something similar but never the exact same. So again, over here I'll take some white, mix a little bit of blue in it. Now this one seems a little brighter than needed, but that is okay, because then we are going to add more paint to the top, and that is known as layering. It's a print and not a painting. No, so this is an I mean, yeah, you have a point that, so when you look at it on your screen and when you look at it in real life, you can never have the exact color that you see here as compared to your paper. But even if you had the actual painting right beside you, you can get something very similar to it, but never the exact, because the brush strokes are done with a different individual mindset, a different what do you say, perception of the painting or perception of the drawing. Because the person who did this probably looked at an actual snow globe and painted it, but what I'm doing is making a painting of his painting that he did of a snow globe. So I guess you could call it like Chinese whisper, where you say one thing and by the time it reaches to the last person, it is something entirely different as compared to what you initially said. So that's the same way for painting as well. Yeah, it's similar to cooking as well. You can take the same recipe, but by the time you're done with it, it will be very different as compared to the original that you had seen, or the original that you have taken from, because while you are making it, it is not done by the person who started it, you could say. I'll take a bit of brown and mix it in here. Almost took white instead of, almost took red instead of white. Yeah, this is a little better. Just like this. So remember that even when you're learning to paint and you use a reference, always keep an open mind that the painting you make will not look exactly the same. It will never look exactly the same. But if you can get it to look similar to it, that itself is plenty. So now over here, I'm just adjusting the colors so I can, like I said, get a similar color to this. And we also have something known as additive and subtractive colors, where additive colors are basically colors that have their own source of light, and subtractive colors are colors that need light to bounce off of them, and then you can see it. So the best example is your screen. What you're looking at right now, all of this is an additive color, meaning each pixel is putting out their own color. Like you can see this blue, this white, this other blue, this yellow, because each individual LED is showing that color. But if I were to give you this in person and you were to look at it, now you would be dependent on the light source, which is whatever lights I have around me, for you to look at this painting. But one of the best ways to enhance this is to give it a very glossy effect. And what I mean by glossy is, if you look at magazines, some of the covers, you will see they have a very smooth surface and the colors look a lot brighter than usual. And thanks to that glossiness, it's reflecting a lot more light, hence making the colors look a lot more vivid as well. Okay, I think I've been talking for a little too long. I've barely done anything. Okay, so I'll start with the snowman now. I'll take some brown and a little bit of white color as well. I will add a little bit more white, then add a little bit of this blue also, not too much. Yeah, and also the difference in medium, as in acrylic, oils, watercolors, they also have their own sort of finish to, or unique sort of finish to it. So if you paint one image with acrylics, with oil and watercolors and gouache also, you'll see how different they look. You can try to get it as similar as possible, but it will eventually end up looking very different. Now this, what I'm doing, is known as blocking in, meaning whatever colors I see, I'm just covering up that entire area with that color, and then I will add the other colors and mix it. Okay, so like this, I will just come and then I will add a little bit more white color. Just like that, cover this entire part. And the same thing over here for the bottom half of the face. Oh, it's already been half an hour. Okay, I might need to speed this up a little bit. Okay, I'll clean my brush. I will take some white color, add a little bit of this blue, a very subtle amount, like that, and then paint this area with this color. And the same thing this side. Maybe I can add just a little bit of this brown color that I initially made. Just like this, and then a little bit over here. I can darken this part up and start evening it out to some extent. Yeah, there you go, just like that. And then this color, I think I can apply. No, that is too much. So this one might be a little bit difficult, so in case you don't get it right the first time, that is entirely okay. Right now I will take some brown color, mix in a little bit of blue in it to darken it, and I will paint the base over here. Make sure you take a good amount of brown. I'll take a little bit of blue also, mix it in. Yeah, there you go, just like that. And then over here I can just start pulling it down slightly. Over here maybe a little bit more. Yeah, just like that. Okay, then I'll take a little bit of white. I'll take some white, mix in some brown color. Add a little bit of blue, just a small amount. Maybe I'll add a bit more brown. Yeah, it's much better. Okay, just like this. I'll add this all the way to the right. Now you must be wondering why I did that. That is because now I will take this brown color again. I'll show it to you over here, brown and a bit of Prussian blue. Not the same blue, I'm taking a bit of Prussian blue. I will mix it in, you can see it become darker. And then I can add that to the bottom of this. A little bit here for some shadow. Then clean my brush, pick all of this up and then just dab it down to get that extra dark color. And the same thing on this side for the base of this snowman. Clean my brush again. Okay. Alright, now I can start adding the cap. I will take my brown color again. Make sure there's very little water or even no water in your paintbrush, because brown is a very transparent color. I will add this down here like that. This is going to be the shadow of the cap. And then over here I will add a little bit, just a tiny bit. Okay, and then I will add the next color here, a little bit this side as well, on the right side of the cap. Then I will take my brown again. See, that is a lot of water. We don't want so much water over here. I'll take my brown, then I'll take a little bit of yellow color in it, and then paint the rest of the cap. There you go, like this. I'll cover up this entirely, and then take a bit more yellow separately. So you can see it's become lighter than this. And then that I can put down over here. So you see how I haven't used any white for the cap? I just used yellow. White we only use when it comes to like primary colors. Which shade of brown is it? So I'm using burnt sienna right now, but if you have burnt umber, it would be much better, because burnt umber gives you a much more. So burnt umber is more of a brown than burnt sienna is, if that makes sense. So both are brown, but if you see this brown over here, this one is more towards burnt umber, and burnt sienna has this very flesh tone kind of brown when you mix it. Yes, burnt sienna and Prussian blue. Or a better alternative would be ultramarine blue and burnt umber. Okay, now I will take some red color and mix it in this. So I will add this red down. See, I'm just going for the rough shape. I'm not trying to paint or draw anything very precisely. And then I will add the shadows here, a little bit this side. There you go, like that. And then for the hand as well, I will just keep the hand out like that. Clean my brush. Oh, there was another side. No, actually I've done that. Okay. And then I will take this little brown that I had, or I'll take this red color also a little bit. Maybe add a bit of this light Go and see another, a little bit here. Yeah, there you go, like that. Yes, I never actually use black. So when you use black, right, what happens is the color. So you can use black, don't get me wrong, black also is a wonderful color, but you need to use it as a bare minimum, you could say. So even if you look at my table right now, I don't think I have black in my room. Forget the table, I don't have black in my room, in my studio. And that is because black can highly desaturate your color. So if you look at this, so now if you mix black in this blue, it can become very dull, even duller than this, when you don't want it to be duller than this. So you want this color, you'll end up with this color when you use black. So that's why black and even white, if you go to see, like over here I haven't used any sort of white for the hat, and even for this part over here, if I want to lighten it up, instead of using white, I will just take some yellow, mix it in here, and then maybe I'll take a little bit more yellow. Yeah, so now look, to lighten this part up, I will take yellow and then add it over here like this. So you see, it's very subtle, but it gives a very nice, what do you say, a very smooth blend of colors, I guess you could call it. So there's nothing wrong with using black, just that you need to use the right amount of black and where it would be, you could say, necessary. So that way all of your colors will remain very fresh. But when it comes to primary colors, right, like blue, red, yellow also a bit here and there. Yellow is already a very bright color to begin with. So yellow already has white color in it. But if you look at, let me see. Yeah, if you look at this painting that we did earlier, if you look at this part, there is no black used over here. There's no black used in any of these paintings. If you see, there's no black used whatsoever. And it gives it nice, fresh, what do you say, color to look at. It looks very vibrant, it looks very nice. So that's why I try to avoid using black as much as possible, and only whenever it is needed do I actually use it. So what you can do, right, is you can experiment with black. What you can do is you can take all your colors that you have, like say if you have orange, or if you have, yeah, take brown for example. Now brown also you do need to use white for that. Let me think of another color. Yeah, so you take orange, all right, now you brighten orange with white and you brighten orange with yellow, and you see the difference. And then you take that same orange and you try to darken it with blue, and then try to darken it with black. So for almost most of the colors, you use blue to darken it, and for almost all the colors, you use, what do you say, yellow to lighten it up. Of course, that depends though. If you're trying to lighten up green, then you would use yellow to lighten it up. If you're trying to lighten up orange, then you would use yellow again to lighten it up. So do a little experiment, and then you can, be the judge of whether you like the result or not, because everyone has their own preferences. And there were some master artists, like I'm talking about the olden days. There were artists back then who couldn't paint without using black, and there were some artists who could only paint without using black. So it just depends on which side of the boat you're on and what do you prefer. There is no right or wrong way, it's just a matter of personal preference. And for me, I feel like this is quite helpful in maintaining, the freshness of the color. So I'm showing it in the way I am comfortable with. Yeah, so even green and orange, right? That also I make with the primary colors, so that way I have more control over the type of green I want or the type of orange I want. Which is why over here also you saw me take red and then mix yellow in here. So you can think of it as, let's see the best example. Yeah, you can think of it as growing your own fruits and having them rather than buying from the grocery store. Because from the grocery store you might have it ready and easily available, but it might not be the type of fruit that you may want, or it may not be the type, or it may not be, let's take orange for example, it might not be the type of orange that you like. So you grow your own orange and then you have it. It's a little bit extreme, but that's the best example I got. So if it doesn't make sense, you can just ignore it. But to some extent, and I have green, orange, pink, but following you, I also go with the flow. So it's a good practice to. There's nothing wrong. So even when I paint, I have greens with me, I have browns, I have blues, I have oranges, but I only use them when I need a particular type of orange. So when you use one set of red and yellow, you will get only one type of orange. So if you look at brown, if I want to make brown, I can make orange with red and yellow, and then I can add a little bit of black into it. Or maybe even blue. Let's see, I'll take a little bit of blue and mix it in. No, it will turn green in color because now there's higher yellow than orange in it. But yeah, it's a good practice to try making your own colors. But whenever I do my oil paints, when it comes to yellow, I have cadmium yellow, I have Naples yellow, I have one more type of yellow, and then for brown I have burnt umber, burnt sienna, I have Van Dyke brown. For blue I have cerulean blue, ultramarine blue, cobalt blue, and then when it comes to green I have viridian green. I have I think for greens I just use viridian green, and then there's emerald green as well. So with just red, yellow and blue, you can't get each and every type of those greens, yellows or purples. So even for red also I have crimson, I have scarlet red, I have a alizarin crimson red as well. So there are many types of colors. So now since I'm not going too in depth with the painting, I'm just using the basic colors that you would have at home and not try to overcomplicate it. Because don't get me wrong, all of this was very new to me as well. When I started out, painting properly. So even I was like I had someone who had referred me to the college I had gone to, and he was telling me all of this, and I had, I think, like the biggest headache. And naturally I would get one because I was like, oh my god, I have to learn all of this. And then once I started, I realized that, oh, okay, it's just something that you get to know while you are learning to paint. So it's like that. Yeah, now see, now for this blush around the cheeks, now over here I will use white, because now I can't make that color with yet just yellow. So I will take white, add a little bit of orange to it, and then I don't know if this is visible. Oh, it's barely visible. Now I'll just take some white, maybe a little bit of red color also, mix it in the white so we get this nice pink color. Hopefully it's okay. I think I'll just darken it. Okay, it's barely visible on camera. But yeah, there are a lot of colors. Like what the colors I use is still less as compared to all the colors that do exist. And it's not necessary to use each and every color, it's just a matter of preference. So it might sound a bit overwhelming, but there's no need to, try and learn each and every part of that. Especially if you're, doing it as a hobby. Getting into all of that can get a little pricey as well. Not a little, very pricey. Because these colors, they do not come cheap. And since these paints that I have, that I'm using right now, are not mine, so I have the freedom to use it as much as I want without having to worry about it getting over. So take advantage of what you get. I'll just add a little bit of water there. Was it here? Yeah. So even these colors that I'm using right now are not the colors that I normally use. So you see me giving a lot of alternative colors like ultramarine blue, burnt umber. So those are the colors that I normally use. Which is why I give those suggestions. And these colors also that I'm using are not bad. Don't get me wrong. These colors are good as well, but they are good in their own way, I guess you could say. A little bit here. Oil? No, this is acrylics. I don't think we're ever going to be doing an oil painting in here. I'm looking at the globe and I said in here. I don't think we're going to be doing an oil painting for our workshops because not just me, but everyone in the office would end up getting some sort of poisoning or the other. And plus it takes a lot of materials also, so it doesn't really make sense, at least for now. Maybe if we get a more ventilated area and a bit more space as well, then maybe we could introduce oil paints. So oil paints, we don't clean a brush with water, we clean it with either turpentine or some sort of thinner. So turpentine can get a bit pricey, so what I used to do is I used to just buy this industrial thinner that you get at any local hardware store and use that to clean my brushes. A little bit of brown. So over here I will just add some few strokes to not make this look very rigid, as if there is some sort of covering down here. Then I can add a bit of a shadow also this side. So I'm just reusing whatever colors I've had over there to get these darker tones. That this wasn't needed. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think we'll keep it to this much only. If I do anything more, it would get very much complicated. I will add a little bit of this snowfall that is happening all around. Oh yeah, it's buttons. Thank you for telling me. So I'll get to that. You know what? I'm just gonna sprinkle it like this. Oh god, you can't even see it. What's the point? You know what, let me try once again. I'll try to sprinkle it down here. I don't want to overdo it, so I'll just take and manually draw some down. If it becomes too light, you can just smudge it off like that with your finger. So to get these natural circular drops, I could use with my, so I have a bigger brush, but it's a little too big. Let's see, let's give it a shot. I'll use a round brush. Yeah, I can use a round brush. Thanks for the advice. A little bit here and some dots this side. Now this paint is a little bit diluted, so it will give that slightly transparent sort of look. It won't be too strong, it won't be too weak. It's a little bit watery. I'll add some over here. Oh, hey Imran, what's up? It's been a while since you also have come. A lot of the, I guess you could say, OG viewers are joining the stream. And then I'll take some plain white and just add it for some reflection. What's there for tomorrow's session? Tomorrow we have a painting of Santa in the morning and a Matani Pacheri painting in the afternoon at 3:30, and then a craft in the afternoon, in the evening at 5:30. Was really busy at work. Oh, okay, no problem. Understandable. Oh, yeah, the buttons are left. So I'll quickly make the buttons. So for the dark color, I'll use a little bit of blue. Okay, this seems to be a little too much water in my brush. So I'll take some blue color here and a little bit of brown to desaturate it. And then I can add one button there and a slightly bigger button here. And then I can lighten it up slightly, not too much. Yeah, there you go. Oh, it's okay, Krishna. That's fine. But yeah, I think we'll stop right here. Mathani Puchiri would be on the book. So we'll be So a bit here and there, we'll be doing a little bit in the book and a little bit of, the whole drawing and painting and stuff. But we're trying to incorporate, a little bit of both, because I myself actually haven't really gone through the books. There are many books. So I thought, while I am going through them, I could even show you all, some of what we have, inside the book. And yeah. So sometimes you'll see me do the Cherial or Gond, and like now for tomorrow, Matani Pacheri. Yeah. And this is the final artwork. So I hope you enjoyed this workshop. I would like to think I stopped it at a good enough spot so that it doesn't get too complicated, and it is, just about enough to enjoy it as well. So thank you so much, all of you who have commented, and even if you haven't, stayed along with me and watched me paint. I hope you enjoyed this workshop, and I will see you all tomorrow. So take care and bye-bye. Thank you, Sumanna and Jyoti. Thank you for the comments. Thank you everyone also for the comments. And now I'm actually gonna go. So take care and bye-bye.